Today, we're going to dive into a family-friendly science fiction film. The film's opening scene unfolds in South Carolina, where a blue car is pursued across a treacherous, hilly landscape by a helicopter. Behind the wheel is Dr. Mulligan, a distinguished physicist and electronics engineer. His passenger is a 10-year-old boy named Daryl. It's revealed that they are being pursued by soldiers from Tascam, a clandestine government agency. For a fleeting moment, Dr. Mulligan evades the helicopter by maneuvering into dense woodland. Seizing this opportunity, he urges Daryl out of the car, and the boy flees towards a nearby trail. Dr. Mulligan then deliberately drives the car back onto a more exposed road, intentionally drawing the helicopter's attention. In a final act of self-sacrifice, he drives the car off a cliff and plunges into the river below. The vehicle is utterly destroyed, seemingly eliminating any chance for the soldiers to realize Daryl had escaped, and hinting that Dr. Mulligan, true to his name, might somehow return. As the helicopter surveys the wreckage, Daryl is discovered unharmed by an elderly couple. They take him to Barkington, a nearby industrial town in South Carolina. Shortly thereafter, the couple hands Daryl over to the authorities, who place him in a local child care center. He is bathed and undergoes routine physical and wellness examinations. During an eye test, Daryl glances at a Snellen chart, then looks away and recites the entire alphabet in order, demonstrating extraordinary mental capabilities. It's clear this is no ordinary child. Knowing the alphabet at 10 is apparently noteworthy. Later, Howie Fox, the center's chief social worker, receives Daryl's medical assessment. Physically, the boy is perfect, but he appears to suffer from profound amnesia, with no memory of his parents or origins. Howie assures him they will locate his biological family, but until then, Daryl will reside in foster care, as state regulations dictate. Unbeknownst to Howie or anyone else, Daryl is unlike any other missing or orphan child. He is, in fact, DARYL, an acronym for Data Analyzing Robot Youth Lifeform, an AI robot. This boy is the product of a top-secret artificial intelligence experiment conducted by Tascam. Despite his appearance as a normal 10-year-old, Daryl's brain functions as a sophisticated microcomputer, boasting remarkable features. These include incredible reflexes, exceptional multitasking abilities, alphabet mastery, and the capacity to infiltrate and manipulate computer systems. The military funded Project Daryl to create a superior soldier. However, Dr. Mulligan, a scientist integral to the project, grew increasingly uneasy about its unethical aims. This led him to abscond from the Tascam base, taking Daryl with him. Days later, Howie contacts his close friend and neighbor, Andy Richardson, about Daryl. Daryl is subsequently placed in the foster care of Andy and his loving wife, Joyce. The Richardsons, unable to have children of their own, are eager to adopt. Fostering a child is a prerequisite for adoption, and they are delighted to welcome Daryl into their home. As days turn into weeks, Daryl seamlessly integrates into the Richardson household. He is exceptionally amiable and helpful, though the adults soon observe his limited social acumen. He struggles with humor and sarcasm, interpreting everything literally. Consequently, they introduce him to their neighbors, the Foxes, Elaine, her teenage daughter Sherry, and her witty son, Tyler, nicknamed Turtle. Turtle immediately takes his new friend home, and they play the computer game, Pole Position. Daryl watches, instantly captivated. When he tries the game himself, he shatters the all-time high score on his first attempt. Turtle and Sherry are amused, though they don't fully grasp the significance. Days later, Daryl attends school for the first time and astounds his teacher with his exceptional academic prowess. Back home, Andy introduces Daryl to baseball, only to be amazed by the boy's powerful hitting ability. Andy envisions his local team, the Mohawks, winning championships with Daryl. He makes Daryl promise to keep his baseball skills secret, fearing poaching by other agents. However, the concept of secrets is alien to the robot child, and he promptly tells his foster mother about his baseball prowess. Daryl also begins to observe and learn about male attraction to females, though he struggles to comprehend it. One day, Andy and Daryl visit an ATM to withdraw cash, but the machine displays insufficient funds due to a bank computer error. Daryl intervenes, correcting the error and, unbeknownst to Andy, manipulating the system to show $1.4 million in Andy's account. Later, Daryl and Andy go to school to practice baseball. Meanwhile, at home, Joyce confides in her friends, admitting her mixed feelings. She feels inadequate as a mother because Daryl is such a perfect child, independently handling all his chores. He irons his clothes, makes his bed, and polishes his shoes, leading Joyce to jokingly say he is a better mother than she is. Howie arrives at their home one day with unsettling news. Authorities have located Daryl's biological parents. The Richardsons are disheartened but agree to cooperate and allow Daryl to reunite with his family. It's clear Daryl has become deeply attached to Joyce and Andy, even insisting on staying with them permanently. However, Andy gently explains that he must go with his real parents, who have missed him and searched for him for months. The next morning, Daryl's supposed parents, Ellen and Jeffrey, arrive in Barkington to take him home. Turtle is so upset he can't bring himself to say goodbye. After a tearful farewell, the parents drive Daryl directly to an airport and board a private jet. In a shocking twist, it is revealed that Ellen and Jeffrey are actually Tascam agents. Daryl is returned to the Tascam facility and undergoes a debriefing, focusing on the valuable social lessons learned with the Richardsons. The debriefing highlights moments like Daryl intentionally striking out during the baseball game, demonstrating his understanding of strategic sacrifice. Daryl's stated preference for chocolate over vanilla ice cream is also noted, astounding Jeffrey, who believes it indicates Daryl's capacity for human emotion. However, Ellen remains skeptical, prompting Jeffrey to initiate biochemical tests. Daryl is placed in a lab filled with doctors for a thorough brain examination. However, Daryl hacks into the lab computer and types a message, "I am scared," an emotion supposedly beyond a robot's capacity. The scene shifts abruptly to Dr. Jeffrey presenting his findings to military generals at the Pentagon. The revelation of Daryl's capacity for human emotions, including fear, leads the military to deem the Daryl experiment a failure. Jeffrey is taken aback, arguing that Dr. Mulligan's actions have yielded invaluable insights into Daryl. However, the generals deem a robot capable of fear useless for military applications and order the project terminated. The Army instructs Dr. Jeffrey to create an adult version of Daryl, programmed to be a fearless, technically skilled, and devastating soldier, ironically, still named Daryl, which hardly sounds intimidating. Disheartened, Dr. Jeffrey prepares to deliver the grim news to Daryl, but his attachment to the boy robot prevents him. Daryl seizes the moment to request a visit from the Richardsons and Turtle. Surprisingly, Dr. Jeffrey agrees, feeling they deserve a final meeting before Daryl's dismantling. Soon, the Richardsons, Turtle, and Howie arrive at the Tascam laboratories. Dr. Jeffrey greets them and reveals the truth about Daryl, leaving them astonished. Initially skeptical, they are stunned when Dr. Jeffrey demonstrates Daryl's superhuman abilities. Shortly after, Daryl reunites with his foster family, warmly embracing them. This deeply moves Dr. Jeffrey, prompting him to make a difficult decision, to liberate Daryl permanently. After sending the family home, Jeffrey devises a plan to smuggle Daryl out of the facility. However, his longtime colleague, Dr. Ellen, discovers his plan and alerts the military chief. The chief arrives swiftly and orders Daryl's immediate destruction. To ensure compliance, Dr. Ellen is tasked with dismantling Daryl, a task she reluctantly undertakes. The military chief later announces Daryl's termination, and an enraged Dr. Jeffrey storms out. But in a dramatic twist, Daryl is not destroyed. Dr. Jeffrey had convinced Dr. Ellen to spare Daryl's life. He successfully smuggles the boy out, concealing him in his car trunk. The doctor drives away unnoticed, but their escape is short-lived. The military chief discovers incriminating messages between Ellen and Jeffrey on the lab's computer. Apparently, these leading scientists aren't tech-savvy enough to delete their tracks. Realizing Daryl is still operational, he orders his men to intercept Jeffrey. By now, Dr. Jeffrey has left the lab premises, and a high-speed car chase ensues. Daryl heroically takes control of the steering wheel, using his superhuman driving skills to evade the police cars. The duo spends the night at a motel, switching vehicles. The next morning, Jeffrey intends to take Daryl to a secret location. They set off in an old truck, and everything seems to be going smoothly until they encounter a police checkpoint. Jeffrey initially manages to distract the officer, even presenting his identification. But as the truck is about to proceed, the officer spots Daryl in the rearview mirror. He orders Jeffrey to halt, but Jeffrey refuses. With no other option, the officer fires, shooting Jeffrey in the abdomen. Despite the grievous wound, Jeffrey manages to escape the checkpoint. Jeffrey stops the truck near a forest and stumbles out. Having lost considerable blood, he collapses and dies in Daryl's arms. This tragic event brings Daryl to tears for the first time in his existence. That night, Daryl infiltrates a nearby USAF airbase and triggers multiple alarms by hacking into their computer system. Using the chaos as a diversion, he steals a Lockheed State Route 71 Blackbird, the most advanced aircraft ever made. Soldiers on the base are left helplessly watching as a 10-year-old boy pilots the Blackbird into the sky. Aboard the plane, Daryl sets the autopilot and inputs coordinates for his hometown, Barkington. Daryl contacts Turtle, instructing him and Sherry to meet him at Blue Lake. Meanwhile, the military realizes no missile can intercept the Blackbird. They are forced to inform Daryl that the plane will be vaporized mid-flight via a self-destruct mechanism. However, Daryl is one step ahead. He waits until the last possible second before the self-destruct timer expires and ejects from the plane. Unfortunately, the extreme G-force during ejection causes Daryl to lose consciousness. He plummets towards Blue Lake, still strapped to his ejection seat. The added weight causes him to sink into the lake. Simultaneously, Turtle and Sherry bike to Blue Lake to meet Daryl. They wait patiently, but Daryl's body soon surfaces. A distraught Turtle plunges into the water and pulls his best friend ashore. He and Sherry rush Daryl to the nearest hospital. Tragically, it is too late. Daryl shows no signs of life and is declared dead. This devastating event shatters both the Richardsons and the Foxes, who grieve together. Turtle, however, childishly insists Daryl cannot die, as he doesn't have a human brain. Unbeknownst to them, Tascam scientist Dr. Ellen arrives at the hospital and finds Daryl's lifeless body. Quietly, she reactivates his electronic brain, bringing him back to life. Since Daryl is officially declared dead, he is no longer on Tascam's radar. Apparently, despite being the most sophisticated robot ever created, they didn't include a tracker. He is now free to return to his foster family and best friend. Back at the Richardson home, a despondent Turtle is about to leave when he steps outside and is greeted by Daryl, who runs towards him. The movie concludes as the two best friends embrace. Subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.